Tonight on Journey's Prime, Finance Minister insists government will go ahead with the Japan mineral royalties deal and that there is no stopping. Also in this bulletin, President Akufo-Addo, meanwhile, described as unfortunate and tribalistic what he says is NDC flag bearers describing of the Japan deal as an Achim Sakawa project.
The comment made by my opponent, Achim Sakawa people, I've not heard any public figure in this country, independent, yourselves or anybody, comment on it. It's completely unacceptable.
Vice President Dr. Mamadou Bawumia touts the NPP administration's Planting for Food and Jobs initiative, saying it has resulted in a boost in the country's agricultural produce.
NDC.
And later in this bulletin, days of torrential rain and spillage of the Bagre Dam results in heavy flooding of communities in the northeast region. And in business,
government sanitation calls for emergency policy direction on migration as 25% of Ghanaian immigrants die using unapproved routes each and every year.
To the indicator on people who travel and die in the process or disappear in the process. So the recommendation is that we need to get a better understanding of what happens to those who travel through unapproved routes.
My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Joy News Prime comes to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle on your digital terrestrial TV, because we are free to air on DSTV channel 421 and Go TV channel 144. As we begin with days of torrential rains together with spillage of the Bagre Dam, which have triggered massive floods across the Mamprugu Muanduri districts in the northeast region. The situation, Joy News is learning, caused the collapse and washing away of already deplorable bridges and roads, cutting off a large part of the district from the region and other parts of the country. Elias Otanko is our man there, and he has more in the following report.
Hundreds of hectares of farmlands and crops have also been submerged and destroyed, a situation leaving the farmers in a desperate move to salvage their farm produce. Joy News checks reveal hundreds of residents have been trapped in their villages with no immediate means of rescue. Economic activities and most public services, including the ambulance service in the area, have also been knocked off by the twin occurrence. In the district capital, Yagaba, the local market was also flooded, and traders without options have abandoned their trading activities due to the choked gutters. Here are some of the market women speaking to Joy News. A former assemblyman of the area, Yusuf Inusa, asked government to come to their aid.
Affect the business a lot. When it rains, the market woman has nowhere to sit and sell. Even those are having stores there, it will be difficult for them to open their stores, and it will be difficult for the customers to access the area and buy the items.
Elias Otanko's report for Joy News.
Our Northeast Regional Correspondent Elias Otanko joins us for more. Elias, tell me, what's the latest on this development?
Well, the NADMO officials in the district are currently scrambling to send relief items to the affected people. The NADMO director in the region tells me it has not been easy. Now, what they are doing is that today they had an emergency meeting to look at the extent of, damage in the district. And they are compiling the affected areas together. And he says they will be sending the information to the national headquarters in Accra. But for now, what they are doing is to wait for the water level to come down so that they will be able to move in and possibly send some relief items to the people there.
How are residents responding to this?
Well, it's been very desperate situation in the area there. You remember yesterday, some farmers had to go to the waters trying to salvage some of their farm produce. We understand some communities are also flooded. Some people have lost their houses. In fact, some are homeless as we speak. They are displaced, and they are currently staying with their family and friends. But of course, this is not something new to the people in that area. This is like an annual ritual. They witness it every day, and so some of them have already planned for this particular eventuality.
Elias Otanko is our correspondent in the Northeast region. We'll be following on this and bring you more on the outcome of the promises by NADMO. But residents of Kurugu and 8 other communities in the Mamprusi West municipality in the Northeast region say they are forced to walk long miles for healthcare after the only health facility there was turned into a temporary housing structure for Chinese contractors. The chief of the community is asking government to remove the Chinese occupants and equip the facility which was built during the Mahama administration. Correspondent Elias Otanko once more reports.
The chief's compound structure was completed in 2016 but was not equipped with the requisite logistics to enable it to operate efficiently. It was expected to provide primary health care to about 8 other communities in the Mamprusi West municipality with an estimated population of nearly 2,000 people. But since then, it has been abandoned and turned into a temporary housing structure for Chinese contractors and their local staff working on the Pualugu multi-purpose dam project. Chief of the community, Kurna Joseph Bayisi Sulemana, is asking government to evict the Chinese occupant and equip the facility with medical materials and staff.
I'm the chief of traditional area. It so happened that any time there is development in Ghana, I don't get just even a handful of that development in my area. I'm appealing to the government to come out boldly to secure me from my problems. One, my clinic, chief's compound has been built over 4 years now. It's not open. It's still a village. It's still a room in my village. And the chief's compound, municipal council, district council have promised. They even went to Eagle FM and announced that Kurugu Health Post has been opened, which is not true. It's not true. It's not true. That one there is out.
According to him, at least 1 pregnant woman lost her life and about 3 children, including his own son, have also died from a childhood illness because they did not get vaccinated or treatment. The divisional chief added that about 4 other women have suffered varied complications of pregnancy and childbirth following the situation in the community. He, caretaker of the facility, Salifu Alasan, agrees. He says pregnant women and newborn babies are missing their prenatal and weighing schedules.
It was built on 2016. It was when Mr. Abuba was build it and get down. It then closed down. Nobody has come to do anything on it again. And our health sector too, we are here. Sometimes we have a facility at Bill. So sometimes we'll go there when somebody is on labor, especially the pregnant women and the children. Especially this time, we are facing a lot of challenges, especially malaria time is this. So the day before yesterday, that was Wednesday, that we were to do weighing here. But because of the rain, Rainy season time, because of rain, we couldn't be able to do. So I'm just suspecting that this month we may not do the way, unless next month that will settle the date again.
Some residents who spoke to Joy News want government to immediately put the facility to use.
Here we don't have hospital to go for health care. So we want help for us to come and open the hospital for us. For a pregnant woman should be going there. The road is long. When the road is long, if the pregnant woman is just standing and the stomach is paining, if not motor, there's no car here for us to take and go to the hospital.
For Joy News, Ilyasu Tanko.
Government says 12 hospital projects earmarked for construction in all regions across the country will cost 80 million euros instead of the 71 million being reported in the media. Health Minister Kwekwajiman Menu, who has been on a working visit to various hospital projects initiated in the Ashanti region, cut sword for the construction of 5 40-bed capacity hospitals to improve health delivery. Nana Senso-Mensah was on that tour and has come through with this report.
The 5 40-bed capacity hospitals are expected to be completed in 36 months. It is expected to decongest Konfanochi and other major hospitals in the region. According to the minister, each of the facilities will cost 7 million euros. He was, however, worried with how cost of the 12 projects proposed to be constructed across the country has been quoted in the media.
We have a package of 12 of these hospitals. We borrowed money approved by the Parliament of Ghana through Cabinet, and we are executing 12 such facilities at 71 million euro. That is the cost. And then we have the insurance package of 8.6 million euro. So together, we have about 80 million for the 12. Each of them averagely cost 6.66 million, which is around about 7 million euro for the project. They took it for just one project, and that made that project unreasonably high, which was not correct. And that is what I try to seek to correct, the impression that has been created into the public domain. So it is just about 7 million per 1 euro, so that by 12, you can do your own multiplication.
The health minister gave assurances all hospital projects in the Ashanti region will be completed before the end of this year.
So when I come like this and you put you on the spot, looks like I have to go and check through my notes. I mentioned a few in the Ashanti region. We have Tepa, we have Bekwai, we have Fomina, we have Korongo, we have Sewa, quite a number of them all in the Ashanti region. I'm anticipating that we will complete a number of them to commission before we even get to the end of the year. Hopefully, yes.
Beneficiary communities include Sabronum, Chadie Swami, Drobonso, and Manson Kwanta. Member of Parliament for Manson Kwanta, Joseph Albert Kwam, said the hospital will pave way for the construction of a nursing training college in the area.
This is a long success story. It started somewhere 12 June 2017 when I wrote a letter requesting for a hospital within my constituency. It has been a long journey. Currently, as we speak, last year, October 9th, President came here. I also outlined it as one of our challenges. Omaihene also laid it before the president, and I had to follow the project day and day out. And now and today, it has been...
We'll be talking to Nana Senso-Mensah for more. Let's take a break now. When we return, all of that. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta says government intends to go ahead with the Japan mineral royalties deal, despite the objections raised to it. The minister this week met with 21 civil society organizations opposed to the deal in what was seen as an attempt to win them over. Speaking on Asase Radio, Friday morning. However, Mr. Oforiatta says there's no stopping, adding government is convinced the deal is in the best interest of the country.
Because we ourselves have been working with Parliament since 2018 on this, so it's not new. So when they talk about indecent haste, I wonder what you mean by indecent haste. And when you have a point in world history of the highest gold prices, you wonder why anybody would not want you to take advantage of that type of timing. Yes, they do know enough about it, and it can only be that the lack of timing for us in an election period that is so objectionable. But this is the first government that has gone into a social partnership agreement with unions and employers formally, where because we're getting out of the IMF program, we felt we needed a certain closeness to make sure there was irreversibility in our programs and we don't get back to the old days. We then went on further to also establish a formal relationship with the faith-based organizations on this issue of consultation and discussion. And you saw, therefore, how the faith-based organizations participated in the COVID distributions, etc. So it's not an attempt to hide information, etc. And truly, this thing has been going on in Parliament since 2018. There's a lot of opportunity to have seen that. I would concede that maybe it could have been more heightened, but I look at the two programs as very different. In terms of meetings with them, we learned a few things, and that's good. Whether we are going to go ahead or not, we are clear that it is good for the country, and that really is a challenge of leadership. How do you think of something that is visionary, think of where Ghana is going, make sure it doesn't get scuttled because of lack of information, and try and cure that. But the principle of what we are doing, we know is right, we believe in it, and I think it will go to the benefit of the country.
President Akufo-Addo has rejected former President Mahama's description of the Japamino royalties deal as an Achim-Sakawa project, describing as unfortunate and tribalistic. The president wants identifiable groups Ghanaians to condemn it. The former president said to have reposted an article written by the MP for Bolgatanga Central, Isaac Adongo, describing the Japa deal as one being pushed down the throat of Ghanaians by an Achim mafia, a tribe to which the president belongs. Speaking with a delegation from the Catholic Bishops' Conference, the president described the comments as distasteful.
This name-calling and insulting seems to be a feature of Ghanaian public life, which is... But sometimes one would hope that when things come out, people would comment on them. The comment made by my opponent, Achim-Sakawa people, I've not heard any public figure in this country, independent, yourselves or anybody, comment on it. It's completely unacceptable. If I was to get up to make a comment about Northerners or Gunjas, you can imagine the uproar that would be in the country. Presidential candidate, a former president of Ghana, you can call a group of Ghanaians Sakawa people, and it involves the group for which the sitting president comes, and that comment goes without, that statement goes without comment. And at the same time, we hear these statements. Let's all try and bring the politics of insults to an end, etc., etc. The occasions are given where specific comments can be made. Nothing happens. And then it's lost. It's lost in the generalities. We need to focus on this matter in an even-handed way. I get the impression that because of the unfortunate, in some ways, authoritarian origins of our state in its where it was considered dangerous to criticize government. The pendulum has now swung the other way, where government is the only group you can criticize. If you criticize government, no matter what you say, is legitimate.
President of the Catholic Bishops' Conference, Archbishop Philip Name, warns government to resource state institutions to enable them play their roles effectively.
To encourage Your Excellency and your government to continue to enhance transparency and accountability in the implementation and utilization of the resources. We wish to reiterate our earlier call on political actors to ensure decorum and courtesy to their political opponents in how they present themselves before the citizens. There is no need to denigrate, debase, and dehumanize others to justify your own ability to perform. We encourage you, Mr. President, to ensure that those who speak, advocate, and campaign for you commit to respecting your own values and etiquette. The recent developments in the banking and microfinance sectors have been of great concern to many Ghanaians, and many individuals and institutions still have their legitimate investments locked up. It will be in the interest of everybody to have these matters resolved speedily and transparently.
Residents of Wadi Dumakese in the Kwabri East constituency of the Ashanti region have welcomed the construction of the first ever modern market in the area. Speaking during the launch of the project, MP for Kwabri East, Francisca Oting-Mensah, says the structure would be built courtesy the $1 million One Constituency program. Joy News' Mahmoud Nuruddin has more.
As old as I am, I have to carry my goods everywhere in the vicinity. The market will ease my burden when I secure a table to draw the attention of customers. We are pleading with the authority not to relent in their quest to construct the market for us to conduct business. Some years ago, we used to sell our goods in a market beside the palace, but now we don't have a market, so individuals just place their goods anyhow in an open space.
Residents of Wadi Ajumankasi have commended the government for considering the plight of traders, especially women who have been selling their goods in unconducive environment or many times have to walk from door to door canvassing for customers.
The construction of the market will bring a lot of benefits to the community. Traders can bring variety of goods, which will offer customers option and easy access to their needs.
An acre of land has been released for the construction of the ultra-modern market. Member of Parliament for Kwabri East constituency, Francisca Oting-Mensah, expresses optimism the contractors will build an all-inclusive market by taking into consideration the plight of other residents.
We are looking at a capacity whereby we can, if you consider the shops and then the other open spaces, we are considering maybe getting about 200 to 300 people a space. But if you look at the land size that has been given to us by the chief and the people, it's a very big land. I think an acre, which per what the chief was saying, it's likely that we can even get more of the space for maybe lorry station or other things, just so that this place can be busy. So we are looking at about 300 people, benefiting from this facility.
She says the market is part of long-term planning of providing conducive environment for residents to economically empower themselves.
The community, and some of the things that came up, or most of the things that the people were mentioning, was a market facility, and then their vocational school, which is already in existence, but then they wanted a push-up. And so looking at the IPEP project, we felt that the market facility will fit best in Wadi Ejumakasi. And we also believe, if you look at Wadi Ejumakasi in general, they don't really have any major trading going on here. Considering Torrential, Adangomasi and other places, you go there and then the youth are involved in kente weaving. Some are into wood carving, some are into beads making, and the others are Dinkra. But within here, hardly will you see somebody doing weaving kente or somebody doing wood carving. And so it is proper we change maybe the economic status of the people by bringing in something that can generate income for our women, our mothers, our sisters, and everyone who want to do business in the market facility.
The market is expected to be completed in less than 2 years, but I asked for the cost of the project.
When will it be completed?
Per the contract documents, they are supposed to use about a year and 6 months. And so we believe probably next year, they've started, we are in the month of September. And so we are hoping that probably by next year, early 2022, they should be completing this project.
And still to come in this bulletin, statistician calls for emergency policy direction on Ghanaian migrants as 25% of immigrants die in journeys through unapproved routes. All the details in business shortly.
Linked it to the indicator on people who travel and die in the process or disappear in the process. So the recommendation is that we need to get a better understanding of what happens to those who travel through unapproved routes.
Hello there, it's time for business with me, Charles Aite. Government statistician Professor Samuel Kobina-Eneng is calling for a second look at economic policies as the country examines the phenomenon of many Ghanaians traveling to other countries in search of jobs through unapproved routes. Now, his call follows a revelation on a 2019 recruitment cost survey conducted by the Statistical Service and the International Labour Organization, which indicates that about 25% of the people who leave the shores of Ghana through unapproved routes don't get to their destination. Here is the government statistician, Professor Samuel Kobina-Eneng.
The 2019 recruitment cost pilot survey covered more than 1,000 respondents from 4 districts. According to the government statistician, the findings in the report present a good platform for some policy measures on labor migration. The report also shows that it takes 2 months for recruits to repay the cost of getting employment. Here's government statistician Professor Samuel Kobina-Eneng.
Linked it to the indicator on people who travel and die in the process or disappear in the process. So the recommendation is that we need to get a better understanding of what happens to those who travel through unapproved routes. From my point of view, the first port of call is to think about what is making them travel through these unapproved routes and what are the risks associated with that and whether we would want to entertain that, rather than making a case whether we should put a ban on or constraint on the number of people who travel or otherwise. So this is what we said earlier on. The whole target is about a well-planned and a well-managed policy on migration. So we need to go back to the policy and see how these policies makes reference to these findings that we are getting.
On the average, more than 1/3 of migrant workers went abroad with regular immigration without a work visa. Project coordinator for the survey, Anthony Odro-Denchera, explains.
We realized that the recruitment cost indicator, which is the proportion of recruitment cost to the employment earnings, on the average, it takes fewer months, that is 1.7 months, for high-skilled migrant workers to recover the cost of recruitment than the low-skilled workers. And so comparing those with the highly skilled migrant workers, the low-skilled migrant workers, it takes much fewer months in relation to the high-skilled migrant workers. Then in terms of the sex desegregation, male-skilled migrant workers are likely to pay back recruitment costs earlier than female counterparts because it takes them fewer months.
Meanwhile, the services sector has been identified as the highest employer, followed by industry and agriculture. Ebenezer Sabotage report for Joy Business.
And now, workers of Coca-Cola Bottling Company have met with the Industrial and Commercial Workers Union over an expected layoff by the employers. Now, management of Coca-Cola Bottling Company of Ghana has resolved to sack a number of workers, citing the impact of the coronavirus as the main reason. A memo to workers dated August 31 and signed by the business unit managing director for West Africa of the company, Felix Gomez, revealed that affected employees shall receive a redundancy pay in lieu of notice. A payment shall also be made for the notice period when necessary. According to management, leadership of all trade unions, Industrial and Commercial Workers Union, as well as the Union of Industry, Commerce and Finance, have been notified in accordance with the law. It also stated that management will be with them to discuss the terms and conditions of the severance package. Away from that, government has been urged to ensure its dealings with Nigeria over recent ritual feud are in the best interest of the country. Now, the House of Representatives from Nigeria paid a visit to President Akufo-Addo for a review of Ghana's GIPC Act to give room for Nigerians in the retail sector. This has seen the president, of course, explore possible actions, including the establishment of the Ghana-Nigeria Business Council. Executive Director of the Africa Center for International Trade and Development, Isaac Hubert Arthur, says caution must be exercised on this development.
The law could be one option, but for me, as to whether it is the right option in terms of remaining compliant to most regional and continental or even multilateral agreement we have signed, is another issue we need to look into. But I think the idea of setting up the Nigeria-Ghana Business Council is a very great one, because in other jurisdictions, one of the ways to resolve trade impasse, between countries has been by setting up this business council, which addresses most of these political economy issues. So let's look more into that. But if you take the step of amending the law to favor just one country, because let's also take note, we are not only trading with Nigerians. Nigerians, I understand, Nigeria is one of Ghana's major trading partners, even in Africa. Okay, so I understand the speciality, that we want to attach to dealing with them. But I think that let's use other means, because the law is a law, and the law stands for everybody. There are Ivorian business people in Ghana, there are Togolese business people in Ghana, there are Burkinabe business people in Ghana. There are so many other countries that are in Ghana and who are doing business. So why are we not having problems with other nationals and we're having problems with Nigerians? We need to be careful. I understand we have to tread cautiously. We have to make sure that we come up with a solution that favors our trade relationship with Nigeria. But let's also be mindful of others.
Well, and that's it by way of business for this edition. Stay with us till 8:30 for more on the business news. In the meantime, sport, it's up next. Do stay.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the sports segment with me, Oreku Ampofo. We do start from our first story where the president of the Ghana Football Association, Keto Kraku, prefers to speak about the potential of Ghana football and not double into the Court of Arbitration ruling that came earlier this week. Now, according to him, speaking on past events has no impact on the progress of football in this country.
The Court of Arbitration for Sport sent in their final award on the impasse between the Ghana Football Association and Wilfred Osei-Kweku-Palmer, a decision if it had gone against the GFA. Kurt Okrako would have ceased to be the president of the Ghana Football Association. However, since the ruling went in favor of the football governing body in the country, Kurt would continue to lead the association until 2023. Speaking for the first time since the arrival of the final award for both parties, Curtin says he was not willing to speak about issues that are past, rather focusing on the better future for Ghana football.
Well, I would not want to comment on the issues that are gone. I think that the future is very clear for us. Adrenaline levels of members of the Football Association are already high. Currently, we're thinking about bringing back the sport. That's the most crucial decision for us now, and I think that I've made a clarion call to all members. We are together, we are one family. We can disagree, but we are a family. Let's avoid the insults in the media space, and let's talk football, okay? And I am very, very positive that the future of our sport looks very, very bright.
The camp of Wilfred Osei-Kweku had promised that they were going to support the Kurt Okrako administration to succeed. The GFA president says he's open to embracing the support of every single soul within the football industry.
Say that we have the support of everybody, and it showed at the last Congress. The weight of the support for our leadership is amazing, and I'm grateful to everybody who's been part of this family from day one up to date. And I have said that, look, everybody is part of the family, okay? Let's stay together and let's develop this sport for all of us.
The GFA president organized his second Congress earlier this week, calling on members to reject those who speak ill and tarnish the image of football in the country.
But that's how we'll be wrapping up the first part of this sports segment live here on the Joy News Prime. In the second part, we do have some more interesting news for you, especially if you're a Chelsea player, because the Blues have confirmed their 7th signing of the summer.
Time for Showbiz. Becky is here with the very latest. Hi, Becky.
Hello to you, Aisha. How you doing?
I'm good. Have you won an award lately?
Not yet. We'll talk about awards, but let's talk about Kwal Kese. Kwal Kese has released his album titled Victory, and there's a song off the album called Victory as well. And Kwal Kese, coming all the way from the US, he he spoke to us. He tells us that, you know, this particular album talks about his life, and so fans should join in and support him. Everybody's story, which is the reason why some people, you know, had to receive a certain award that has got Ghana talking.
And they didn't give us some of the awards.
I was just wondering why they didn't give us some of the awards. But first of all, Aisha, we have to, you know, congratulate, some colleagues of us.
Congratulations.
I don't know why, Aisha. I don't know why Sarkodie is the most trolled in this issue. I don't get it.
The explanation I get from this is the fact that they say Sarkodie does not attend any function. I mean, he's selective when it comes to that. And I'm told that even the recent VGMA Awards, he was there, but he was in his car. He didn't get down to meet his colleagues who were around just to chit chat or something. He was just in his car. And if you could remember, his award was received by some other people on his behalf. Meanwhile, he himself was there. So their point is, so when it got to this bottle award,
it's actually called the Golden Feeding Bottle, and the one that Nat is holding.
It reminds me of my primary school days.
The one Nat is holding is the Golden Chariot, or you can call it Golden Horse. Golden Horse, and then also actually there's an MP. There's an MP. Okay, so Aisha, what you're seeing on your screen is the award being presented to Evans Mensah. Evans Mensah doesn't want Evans Mensah is deassociating himself from the award. Please, let's take a listen.
Oh my God.
The official list, my name no dey inside.
Leadership Service to Humanity Award. The 7th World Presidential Global Board of Service to Humanity Award is presented to Mr. Evans Mensah. And Economic Transformation Executive Personality of the Year. Evans, take your Evans, your response. Please, we beg. Evans. We beg, take the award. Evans. Accept that speech, please. We beg, take the award. Oh, Evans. When you were smiling, please let me tell you, it is signed by His Excellency. Whoa! Dr. Sayo Roger. Whoa!
Congratulations, Evans. Congratulations to you, Nat. Congratulations to DJ Black. And you know the majority. Oh, look at him!
Oh, my goodness!
He holds the caucus here on. So
he's actually the
this one is the golden plate
officer of the Ministry of Education.
Okay, so he received the golden plate.
And he's the honorable.
Look at the plate. Look at the plate.
Candidate for
Congratulations to all of you. I think Fojo, Mr.
He brought the plate from Kempinski. Are you aware?
No, I didn't know. But Aisha, I think we should get in touch with Dr. Kojo Fojo so that we've been doing a lot here on the
he needs to recognize that. At least if he gives us a feeding bottle.
And also, Aisha, we have to also note that all these people that have been given the awards, they deserve the award, and the guy himself deserves an award as well. And we will make sure
that bold.
Yeah. And if you see the caliber of people that receive this award, I'm telling you, Aisha.
Oh, doctor, please, we are waiting for.
We are waiting for the prime
ladies of the year.
Yes, you know, we've been entertaining you guys
a lot. I want a feeding bottle. You want?
I want the golden plate and the golden chariot. Not on the laptop.
Damn it, for sure, babe. Thank you so much, Becky, for people. And that be it on Joy Prime. Those of you watching on Joy Prime, that will be it. The news continues on Joy News. To the rest of our stories, President Akufo-Addo says upbeat financial constraints will no longer impede access to tertiary education for eligible students in his next term as president. Commissioning the University of Professional Studies, ASHRITEF, the president said under a new student loan scheme, eligible applicants will no longer require a guarantor before accessing it.
Means you cannot afford to slip. Moving up on the global education ladder should be the only way for you. Chairperson, ladies and gentlemen, before I conclude, let me state the government remains fully committed to ensuring that all our youth gain access to senior high school and tertiary education, as they represent the best ways of equipping the citizenry with the requisite skills for rapid national development. We are aware that adequate funding of higher education has been one of the challenges of successive governments. At the graduate level, this particularly has become a topical issue in recent times. As part of efforts to deal with the problem of funding higher education, government has pledged itself to the establishment of a research fund for the sole purpose of funding relevant and sector-specific research work in our institutions of higher learning. This is in addition to the book and research allowance. Government will therefore continue to support tertiary institution industry collaborative programs to increase opportunities for practical training and internship. We should promote curriculum development to meet the skills and human resource demands of industry, create opportunities for work and study, and made training in entrepreneurship a cardinal component of the school system. Education remains the key and best route to moving people out of poverty. Just as we have made senior high school education accessible to all Ghanaian children, another term for the NPP and myself in office will mean that no student who has obtained admission to a tertiary institution will be denied access because they are unable to pay fees. We will provide all students an option to obtain a student loan without the requirement of a guarantor for the loan, provided he or she has a national identification number from the Ghana card. Repayment of the loan will be deferred until after the completion of national service, plus an additional grace period. This promise, like free SHS, is one we will fulfill, like we have fulfilled the great majority of our 2016 manifesto promises. I believe our nation is on the cusp of a new bold beginning, which will lead to the founding of a new Ghanaian civilization, where science, technology, and knowledge will unleash the huge potential of the Ghanaian people and create progress, prosperity, and dignified standards of living for them.
Vice President Dr. Mamadou Bawumia says the export of 17 different crops outside the country goes to show the positive impact of the NPP's government planting for food and jobs. He says the policy has made food so abundant in the country. Addressing the chiefs and people of Tatanle in the northern region, Dr. Bawumia mentioned there's also been increased supply and accessibility to fertilizer and other farm inputs.
Farmers to enjoy the support through free reduced fertilizers, seeds, and extension services. We've reduced the price of fertilizer, and fertilizer is very accessible. A 50% reduction in price is very accessible to our farmers across the country, east, west, north, and south, and every district in this country. Farmers are farming more, and there is more food for everybody to eat. Under Nana Akufo-Addo, we are seeing a transformation in the agricultural sector. Agricultural growth is increasing and food production is high, and Ghana today is exporting about 17 different crops to other countries. That is a real achievement under Nana Addo Akufo-Addo.
It may be sheer coincidence, but less than 24 hours after Joy News brought you a report on the deplorable state of Kete-Krachi town roads, the roads minister, Kwesi Amoah-Akwata, has cast short for work to begin. The 15-kilometer stretch of roads will be under construction for the next 24 months. 10 kilometers will be asphalted, while the rest will have double bitumen layers. Residents of the town of Karachi have also been assured of a bridge over the Uti and Volta rivers, which is expected to start in the coming months.
The necessary road furniture, now improve safety also for a month for. Now, me Benra Karachi, the old road be a previous government in Chile. Aya na are papa mo ma yemfa Ghana for sika eni agro. Yemfa Ghana sika eni agro. Ekwan ya esese ya etumi last 10-15 years. 1, 2, 3 years na kwa nyina asay. Mo fa kwa no so a the entire almost 10-kilometer stretch of road is heavily inundated with deep potholes. Potholes were quite soon. The 10 kilometers asphalt, a first phase. Do now, as I said, you better so amana cover the entire space of Karachi.
President of Karachi Youth Association Hastings Ananeho bemoaned the poor state of the roads, had this to say about the sword cutting ceremony.
You know that when the road network is okay, everything is possible to achieve because economic activities will boom, all other things will be okay. So, not I alone, all other people in Karachi, the good people in Karachi will testify to the fact, will testify that because of the absence of the bridge, a lot of things are going awkward. So now that we have had the promise, it means that our expectations are going to be met, and that is all that we want. So if all these things are done, what prevents us from following the government? I don't do politics. I do politics per the achievement that we are getting in our area. So I am saying that if they are able to meet what they have said, there is no doubt of their success.
Traders in the Kumasi Central Market say free SHS will inform their decisions on December 7. The traders at the yam section of the market will not rule out interventions by government's agricultural policies, which they say have positively affected their business. Other incentives, including loans and others, which have helped in the recovery of their businesses, are among the factors they'll be considering during the December 7 polls.
Free and swimming free and school free, free. No today. Nana go way. Nana baby. Nana ma and come baby crack a school and go into me uncle. And to Nadia, you bet trouble in that near trouble. Mama, you buy no one says so by no. Why you not give me a beer? And I go for the buyer. Why no mammy bray and mine? Why no mammy bray? And a no mamma walk on you. I don't know the actually. Tina me a pen and I go for them. Now, your mamma, dear Nadia, say what done you are no. What done honor. One mama drancho na nekufado. Na nekufado ina dia mrado. Katina na vania kwa na vota hapa na. So na tutu wolba o wolwa de bui o do wolwa ne pampia. O do wolwa de ba don pampzera alormus na vania sakwa na da hapa na. Makala na teto. Meti way, me catch the way 10 ones, papa, as we chia bribe, me Sanchez meant 10. Our West Leggers, Afi me catch the me nana walk school, Manchashe, Wabawaya say ya. Na she wamo. Na tansi so, by the way, na tansi ya. Nana ba ko babu chowo. Mama kachira yese. Woye bibia wa santima wo de go do krate ta ha nyefe. Sese na manie. Ye jira santima mu ne ekasai. Ye ne bibia. Ye sana lo ye san ko to de go for na se. Ni abre ye mako school free. Ye da kania mu free. Ye bunsio free. Mama wa manie ko tena se aye yie. Nana so wia. Baumia papa bi. President Baumia president ma the whole Ghana. Ya hiano. Na so. Entini say. Ade kwamo baye. Ade kwamo baye to body 200 ni 500. And okuta 2 cities unya body unya bayire.
And that's Voters' Voice only on the Joy News channel. December 7 will be interesting. The Member of Parliament for the Napdam constituency of the Upper East region, Dr. Market Nawane, has accused Vice President Dr. Baumia and the NPP government of claiming the credit for projects that he has personally implemented in his constituency. According to the NDC legislator, the Delivery Tracker website recently launched by the government to show evidence of developmental projects shows projects an emergency ward at Nagode in the Namdam district as a project put up by the NPP government. This, he says, is not true because he personally put up that emergency ward using his share of the district assembly's common fund. Upper East correspondent Albert Sori has more.
The Nabdam constituency branch of the National Democratic Congress held a press conference to address some issues with regard to projects within the constituency listed on the delivery tracker. Member of Parliament for Nabdam, Dr. Mark Ket Nawani, who addressed the press conference, accused the current government of doing very little for the constituency, but then trying to claim the credit for projects that were done by the NDC.
I represent the NDC party in Parliament. The little that we have done with this 200,000 Ghana cedis a year that is given to us is being listed not even as the achievements of the government, but the achievement of one party, leaving out whatever contribution that the laws of the country have been able to secure for we the minority. And when the Member of Parliament who represents NDC bills and also hope to use it to have him in his campaign, you are seizing the MP's project and adding it to yours on grounds that you gave the money. It's not you who gave the money. It's the law, it's the constitution that share the money. And I'm the spending officer, and I account for it. The auditors will call me if there's any problem. They will not call Donado. They will not call Baumia.
He said some of the road projects captured in the delivery tracker do not exist because there are no roads within the Nabdam constituency bearing some of the names written on the tracker.
And look at this road that they are talking about, the Congo Soin Road. There are two ways that you can move from Congo to Soin. That's through Bolga before you get to Soin. But that road will never be called Congo Soin. And inspecting the road that is spoiled, and we expected that activity should be on it, is the Congo Akanyonga Road. But even with that, there's no activity.
The NDC in the Nabdam constituency concludes that the MPP has been dishonest and therefore they want the voters in the constituency to reject the MPP's parliamentary candidate. Albert Sori, Joy News, Nangodi.
And back here in Accra, my name is Aisha Ibrahim. Former President John Dramani Mahama has assured the people of Wa East, especially persons who want to go into small-scale mining, of the support of his government should he be re-elected. He noted the mining sector in the country alone could employ up to 1 million people if it is managed and regulated well. He says interested persons will be supported to form cooperatives and also tout how to mine safely and in a manner that will not affect the environment. Joy News' Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam, who is with the Mahama campaign team, reports the former president promised to withdraw security personnel from mining sites and also return seized mining equipment and concessions to their rightful owners.
Among the many issues that the people of Benue and Bulingi brought to the fore when former President John Dramani Mahama had community engagement with them as part of his Whistle Stop campaign tour of the Upper West region was mining. Benue and Bulingi and other adjoining communities are believed to have large deposits of gold, and as a result of that, majority of the youth in those areas are involved in illegal mining. The ban on illegal mining, popularly known as Galamsey, by the government has therefore put most of them out of job.
We are appealing to you to find a lasting solution to the issue of Galamsey because Manwe engages in Galamsey activities.
Mr. Mahama noted that there is so much gold in the country. The challenge, however, is that the sector is not well organized.
Part of the 1 million jobs plan I've been talking about is in the mining sector. Indeed, if we organize mining properly, from Axim all the way to Boko, the mining sector alone can employ 1 million young people.
He pledged to put in place a system which will ensure that young people who are into mining do it safely and in a manner that is environmental friendly.
We will let our young people form what we call small-scale mining cooperatives. cooperative will have about 21 members. We will let you apply through the district assembly. We will bring a mining officer. We have people who have studied mining. We will bring a mining officer to supervise the way you do the mining, so that you do it, one, in a safe manner, so that we don't lose lives, and then two, that we do not destroy the environment. We will pay a little contribution from the proceeds of the mining into an environment fund. So at the end of the mining, we will use that money to level the ground and replant the trees on the ground so that the land will recover and be a benefit to us.
Mr. Mahama also spoke about the seizure of mining equipment and constant harassment of people at mining sites by security personnel.
We will withdraw the soldiers and the security people from harassing our young people. And as I said before, those whose equipment has been seized and it has been given to NPP party people, we will recover that equipment and give it back to the rightful owners. Those whose concessions have been taken and given to party affiliates, we will recover those concessions and give them back to the rightful owners.
The people of the West District are predominantly farmers. The district, until now, used to be the breadbasket of the region. Mr. Mahama therefore sees the opportunity to roll out his plan on agriculture.
That we're going to change the orientation of the Ministry of Agriculture and call it the Ministry of Food and Agribusiness. Because in this modern day, agriculture is a business. It is not a way of life. Our fathers and forefathers were peasant farmers. But the day of peasant farming, hoe and cutlass farming is over. We need to adopt scientific means of farming so that the young people will be interested in also farming.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salam, Mangwe.
And from Maui, more than half of canoes belonging to fisherfolk at Kualiena at Jamestown have been destroyed by sea waves. The fishermen in the enclave say the situation presents a big threat to their livelihood. They were relocated to a new site months ago to take away for a London beach. There is more in this report by Mamiesi Thompson.
For hours, the fishermen sit to mend their nets and catch up on the day's activities. Since they moved here 2 months ago, life has only gotten worse, they say. Most of their time is spent mending nets or repairing canoes broken by the violent sea waves. Fishermen sit to mend their nets and catch up on the day's activities. Since they moved here 2 months ago, life has only gotten worse, they say. Most of their time is spent mending nets or repairing canoes broken by the violent sea waves. It has impacted their business negatively. 55-year-old James says a harbour is the best option to boost their work.
Yeah, no good at all for we. Yeah, no good at all. Yeah, no good at all. Men are try to come up all the boat for here to guide them. Make now as here don't spread. The way they can do way they don't spread. If they won't start for here with the bag owner, men are try to enter inside Kole first to go come up all the dirty for inside. Before, after the store where they do for Kole mouth, then join carry go up. Here own way they don't do it no good at all.
He is not the only one suffering. His fellow fishermen, John Botche and a trader Akwele, tell me before they were relocated, government promised them better conditions, but unfortunately for them, it is not so.
Like I tired, I am hungry for my work. I want to sit down for 1 week later and go for the sea. So the place you take me go, I tired. So I beg you for Nanado. Make can help me. The sea is square, I never fit do my work. For the the person you know say it all will me wa.
Agata fa che ko lo aba fo e bi e sha fo e se na ba hon e bi e be no ba gbe na mi aye no ko do ko awo ni gbo won to mi ne ke ni ta se la che mi ke nte so wa na ye no ko ma tele ni ma ta se be na he ni e ya hun to mi musu bi de che po nyele ma le mo mi de che po han ni e ne ko yo bi ane ne ko ma le don.
Compounding their problems is the danger insanitary conditions pose to their health. Plastic waste and fecal matter are a common sight on the beach. But Joy News is learning the Sanitation Ministry is taking steps to improve the situation. The ministry has also hired the Ghana Water Company Limited to provide water for them. PRO Stanley Mate gives more details on the project, estimated to cost 500,000 Ghana cedis.
As Ghana Water Company Limited, we have also been here to also assess how we can supply the newly relocated area with water. And the decision we've taken now is to tap them on a line opposite the market. We'll cross the street, okay, and then we'll lay some 100 meters to the east and then some 100 meters to the west. And then we'll tap them onto it so that at least they can have enough water within the market, and then to keep healthy, to keep themselves clean, and then also to support in the sanitation issues.
For these people, only a harbour can alleviate their plight. For Joy News, Mamiesi Thompson, Kolena.
Former Deputy Finance Minister Mona Helen Korte has condemned the recent attacks on women tagged as witches in the north. She says the surest way to deal with this canker is to empower women. Mona Korte was speaking in a yet-to-be-aired interview on PM Personality Profile.
We heard of the recent situation where women were labeled witches, and to think that we even built a witch camp. And I know that at the time that those witch camps were built, they were built to protect the women, to take them out of community. But Aisha, today we know that taking people out of the community into a camp where they live on their own actually perpetuates that label. It deepens that perception of the woman being a witch. The woman needs to be within community and contribute her quota. If she is not well, if she's elderly, you can have an elderly home, there are hospitals. But to take a woman out of community because she's a witch is a no-no. Therefore, my role as an agent of change is to move women from poverty to prosperity. How do we do this? We must look at the growth drivers. What are the things women can do to quickly get there? Some of it is technical assistance, and therefore we, as people who have that, should go down and give it to them. We must share that with them. Second is access to financing, because they need capital to build on some of the things they need to do. So we must make that provision, and that has been happening for a while. We need to take it to another level.
The full interview airs at 9 p.m. on the Joy News channel, with a repeat broadcast on Saturday 3 p.m. and 9:30 a.m. Sunday. We'll take a break on Joy News Prime. When we return, there is more in business and sports.
And we're back with business. Now, the Securities and Exchange Commission has justified the revocation of 55 fund management firms, insisting that every firm was given a fair hearing. Now, the assurance is coming after the Commission was accused of Black-Shield capital, of bias and unfair treatment. But speaking to PM Express on PM Express this evening on tracking revocation process, Director General Reverend Obame says the process has so far been very fair to all the firms involved.
The firms who, they wanted to more time inject some if you like, capital or some liquidity. We said bring the plan to show us that you are able to do so, because if you are in a liquidity crunch and you can inject some liquidity, that could give you, if you like, some breathing space. And you know, that also didn't happen. Okay, so after a series of hearings, after a series of engagement, then we wrote to them and said, we are giving you a final opportunity to deal or address or redress these issues. And we gave them some time to respond. They responded, not satisfactory responses. And so we had to take the decision of revoking the licenses. So that's at our level. Now, after the revocation announcement, 8 of the companies decided to use a provision in the Act, Act 929, which is the Administrative Hearings Committee. When you are not satisfied with any issue or any decision within the securities industry, the regulator, that is SEC, has made a decision you are not satisfied with. According to the Act, the provision for the Administrative Hearings Committee is there. As the Director General, I'm not part of the that committee.
Yourself to ensure there's
even by law,
you are not supposed to
yes,
do that.
because I have made the decision, of course, with the support of the board, but the AHC sits without the executives being part of it. Okay, so the AHC sitting is almost like a court sitting.
Well, meanwhile, the Registrar General, Jemima Owari, has been given details on the liquidation process for the fund managing firms.
I initially mentioned that the courts had granted 22 orders for 22 firms out of the 40 firms that DG is mentioning. Even of the 22 orders, the laws require that I gazette the orders before I begin any process. And the courts have drawn up for me only 21 orders. Before we put out the notices for the first creditor meetings, I only had 20 orders that I had gazetted. That is how come my first creditor meeting is going to only deal with 20 of those firms for now. When we gazette it in the commercial industrial bulletin or at Assembly Press, it normally takes a week or 2 before the gazette actually comes out. The next step is within 6 weeks after the order has been granted us from the courts, we are supposed to publish a notice to creditors and debtors to submit claims for us to prove or validate. Luckily, as soon as DG revoked or SEC revoked the licenses of all these firms, they didn't wait for my process to begin. As he explained, they quickly appointed an agent, and all those claims of all these fund management companies were submitted to this agent who quickly validated 40 of them. So at this level, even though I've put the notice out, as the law requires for me to put it out, most of the claims have been validated and submitted. All those out there who for one reason or the other didn't submit claims to PW, the agent, can submit to our department. We will forward it to the agent. The same agent will be my agent who will validate the claim. So there's not going to be any problem. Whether they receive it or we receive it, that'll be done. After the proof of debt, which has already been done really, the next stage is for me to get the members of the company or the officers of the company or the accountants or anybody who has knowledge about the company to give the agent information about the company to prepare what we call the statement of affairs. The statement of affairs basically is giving information on the status of the company just before liquidation.
Well, let's run you by some interesting figures on the revocation of these 55 fund management firms. Of course, we do know that most of these firms have had their licenses withdrawn. 423 claims valued at 800 million is filed against First Bank Financial Services. 82,000 claims filed against Black Shield, formerly Gold Coast Securities, totaled 4.65 billion Ghana cedis. These are information we're getting from the Securities and Exchange Commission. And that is it by way of business. Sports is up next. Do stay.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the second part of the sports segment live here on the Joy News Prime. My name is Oreku Ampofu, and we start off with our first story where Secretary General of the Ghana Athletics Association, Bawa Fuseni, has attributed the decline of athletics to the lack of a conscious effort from the state to support the sport.
50 to the 60s, the state has so much interest in sports. So the state gave them the support. Look at the 1964 All-African Games. Look at the 1960s, how Ghana were doing well, even to the early 70s, 74, up to 78. Ghana was the force to reckon with in sports, not only in athletics, in boxing, and in football, even in cricket. By that time, the state has so much interest in it. But this time around, the state interest has waned down. Everything is left for the federation to fight for itself.
Bawa urged the government to help the Athletics Federation, especially during competitions.
Olympic Games, Commonwealth Games, Olympic Games, Commonwealth Games, All-African Games, the financial model that federation needs to go and win a medal go beyond the federation step. It needs state to support. So those days, those years, state was sponsoring, state was supporting. But now it's not the same.
The Ghana Athletics Association has not received any relief package from the World Athletics as a result of the financial distress caused by the coronavirus pandemic.
From athletics, let's do some football, where head coach of Liberty Professionals, David Oklu, he says that COVID-19 pandemic has forced the GFA to, cancel the league, and due to that, it has been a blessing in disguise. Now, according to him, his team was dipping in form, and cancelling the season has afforded him room to prepare for next season.
Following the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Ghana Football Association took a decision to cancel the 2019-2020 football season. Most clubs had given their players training schedules for them to keep them fit ahead of the commencement of a new football season. Head coach of Liberty Professional, David Oklu, has told Joy Sports that the cancellation of the season has been a frustrating one.
It was difficult, but in some way too, it's a blessing in disguise, because we were dipping in form a bit when the lockdown came. And when you look at football, January, that's the way it is. You peak, you dip in a bit, then you peak again.
During the window of the absence of football, Liberty sold one of its prized assets in Mubarak Alassane to Granada CF in Spain. He says Liberty is always well structured to have perfect replacements for the departure of their best players.
Mubarak will be mixed a lot. This is a guy who makes football very easy. Okay, but Liberty, our track records. Yeah, we have capable substitutes over there.
Liberty had won 4 matches, drawn 4 and lost 7 in the first round of the cancelled Ghana Premier League season.
Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 is the magic number, and that is the number of signings that Frank Lampard has already made this summer for Chelsea. And the latest addition is Kai Havertz from Bayer Leverkusen. He was signed for a fee of £62 million upfront, and that could possibly rise to £71.4 million, making him the second highest ever Chelsea signing, right behind Kepa Arrizabalaga. An exciting summer it has been for Chelsea fans, but business starts in just about a week on September 12th when the Premier League does begin. Now, what would be a realistic target for the Blues after, getting all of these world-class players? I guess time certainly will tell, but my time is up here on the sports segment. My name is Oreku Ampofu, and do remember to have a fantastic weekend.
Time for the interactive segment. You know how to join on facebook.com/joynews, on TV, on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. So the Director General of the Ghana Health Service says no COVID-19 case has yet been recorded. As you may have heard, September 1 was the day our airports reopened. And so far, a number of passengers, total of 247 passengers, so far undergone antigen testing for COVID-19. And Dr. Patrick Kumabuaje says nobody has been, no COVID positive case has been recorded yet. Let's see your comments on this one. 54 comments, a number of shares and likes. Mohammed Prosper says, because the government only aims at the monetary side, all passengers around the world are thoroughly checked at departure before traveling. What is the need of 30 minutes substandard test for a whooping $150? And Kruma Michael says, is that testing equipment good to claim that amount of money better reduce? And Ado says, wait till next month, talk about the money you extorting rather. Samuel J says, they should open land borders too. Abenam Ponsa says, glory be to God. Fidela Machu also said, no serious test is being carried. And Letitia says, then they should return their money to them. And Tilioko says, good sign. Elias Ishaku says, chop chop government. Mark Yomepe says, wow. And Maximus Atta says, data. Nanako J says, we thank God. Opoki Manuel says, the reason is that the people are asked to bring a negative test from the last 72 hours before arrival. So what the sense in doing another test? This is just mind-blowing. Sometimes when you think about things Ghana does. Jeffrey J says, it's good to get retested at the airport, since from 72 hours test till you land at KIA, you will be exposed to catching the virus en route. Safety of people in Ghana is key. If this protects the country, then I think it's worth it. Nana Kwesi Ajuman says, Opoku Emmanuel, okay, says the test is relevant. What doesn't make sense is the price. Opoku Emmanuel, okay, so those are your comments, a number of them. And Maruf says, thanks to God. Ikia says, then review the 150 USD fee for the test. And Michael Sherman says, so why don't you quarantine them? Suppose they are in the incubation stage. That's the question Michael is asking, whether we need to quarantine some of the passengers in the events that they are in the incubation stage. And that'll be it for the interactive segment. That's how we also wrap up the bulletin tonight. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. PM Personality Profile comes up next. Mona Korte, former Deputy Finance Minister, is my guest tonight. Make a date.